Okay, in this video we're going to have a look at hazard symbols, why we use them, and some key ones that we need to be aware of. So first of all, why do we use hazard symbols? Well, one, you can see here that they're going to stand out quite clearly. They've got these nice colourings that make it very visual. The other advantage of a hazard symbol is that it means it's an internationally accepted symbol. So it doesn't matter which language you speak, you will be able to recognize the symbol and understand the meaning of that symbol. So it makes it quick and easy to follow. Some to be aware of that we need to know in a little bit more detail. Hopefully, the images kind of help you to see how it relates to the message it's trying to present to people. So this first one here is talking about being explosive. So any chemical's explosive. The risk is that these chemicals could explode. So the precautions that we have to take is keeping them away from heat and fire. An example of a chemical that would carry this warning is ammonium nitrate. Next one here, we've got this image, which means these chemicals are highly flammable, and that the risk there is that they can catch fire easily. So precautions there is we keep them away from any sparks or oxidizing agents. We'll come back to those in a moment to understand why they're important here. We can wear eye protection when using these, and the example we've got here is petrol. So hopefully, if you've been to a petrol station, you will recognize this symbol from the petrol station itself. Next in the list, we have toxic. So again, the image is really trying to warn us here that these can cause death if they're swallowed or breathed in, or if they're absorbed through our skin. Precautions we take, we're wearing gloves, we've got masks, eye protection. We can use a fume cupboard if we're using them in a laboratory. Example here of a chemical that would carry this warning is mercury. Next one here is this cross with the letter I. The I represents these are irritants, so these will irritate our skin, eyes and lungs. So to prevent any problems, we wear gloves, eye protection handled with care. Any spills, we make sure we wipe up the spills so somebody else doesn't come along and touch that irritant. And examples of chemicals that we have with these, and these are probably more common for us to see in school, are dilute acids and alkalis will carry that warning. This next one looks very similar, but here we've got the letter H, telling us these are harmful. And these type of chemicals are very similar to the description we had above for toxic chemicals, but they're not as dangerous as the toxic chemicals would be. We have to handle them with care. We've got eye protection and gloves to help us to do that. If we do spill any on our skin, we wash off the spills immediately. An example of a chemical that would carry that warning is copper 2 sulfate. Next one is corrosive, and you can see here that the warning sign is showing us this is going to eat away any kind of object, whether that be ourselves or desks, for example. It will cause damage to those areas. What can we do? Eye protection, we can wear gloves, wipe up spills again to make sure that we remove any chemical from somebody else using the area. We handle the chemicals with care to prevent those spillages, and the example of chemicals that would carry this corrosive warning are strong acids and alkalis. Next on the list, we've got hazardous, and these are harmful to the environment, so they're going to kill living things. So here we've got a tree and a fish to illustrate that point. So with these chemicals, we've got to be careful we don't dispose of them into the environment or down the drain so they end up in the environment, because that's where the problem will come. We have to dispose them in a controlled way. That often means getting professionals involved. An example of a chemical of that nature is asbestos. And the final one, we mentioned earlier on, are chemicals that are oxidizing agents. So you can see we've got an O with some flames coming off. What do? These release oxygen, which allows other substances to burn more fiercely. So if we have any chemicals that are flammable, we have to keep these away from them, because the oxygen they release would cause the highly flammable chemicals to burn even more. Eye protection is going to be worn. An example of a chemical that have this warning is hydrogen peroxide.